Hi everyone, I'm Gohar Vardanyan and welcome back to a new video. Today we are starting a new series. I thought it would be nice to dedicate a separate series to all of those kind of rite of passage pieces that all of us as classical guitarists play at some point or another. You've probably already played them, or you will be playing them if you are learning to play the classical guitar. So I thought it would be nice to, in addition to the etudes that I've been doing in the last couple of years, to have a dedicated series just to those pieces that aren't necessarily categorized as etudes. Of course, I will continue with the etudes. Whenever something comes up that I like and I find beneficial, I will add on to the etude series, but this way we can kind of keep it separate and be more inclusive in the instructional material of all the pieces out there. So the format of this series will be a little bit different. I thought about it, and each time that I upload a new piece, it will be coming in two videos at the same time. So one will be the performance and one will be the instructional part. And I thought of doing it that way because these are beautiful pieces just on their own, and a lot of us kind of use YouTube as an audio device, and I'm sure a lot of you just listen to music without really watching the video or having the purpose of watching the lesson. So this way, because the performance video will be alone, you can put it in a playlist that you like and people can just listen to it in the background and not be disrupted by the lesson that follows and have to constantly go back and skip to the next video. This way the performances can be grouped together and the lessons can be separate. And of course, with each video, if you're watching the performance, there'll be a link to the lesson, and if you're watching the lesson, there'll be a link to the performance. So they will always be linked and you will always know when to where to find the other half. So without further ado, let's go into the lesson. Lágrima is one of those really short, almost miniature pieces that Fráncisco Tarrega is so well known for. To begin the lesson, we're going to quickly decipher the structure and then move on to the musicality. So Lágrima is in the ABA format, so it's in ternary form. You have an A section that you repeat actually, and then the B section that you also repeat, and then at the end of the piece, you come back and you play the A section one more time. The A section, which is in major, it's in E major, is this. That's the end of the A section. Your music will have a repeat sign there, most likely. You go back and you play it again, and then you have the B section, which is in kind of a contrasting mood, but it's also in a minor key, so it's in E minor. Then the B section borrows some musical material from the A section from here. This might sound familiar, but it's in minor. If the A section had it in major, right? The B section, that little bit that it borrows, is in minor. And that's the end of the B section. You go back and you play it again. After you repeat the B section, you go back and you play the A section one more time. So you end the piece in the key of E major. And if someone asks you what key Lagrima is in, it's in E major, because the way we determine what key the piece is in is what key it ends in. So even though you might have a very big section of it in minor, it's still considered to be in E major with a minor section in the middle there. So in terms of the musicality, this is one of those pieces that you definitely don't want to over practice with the metronome. You know how much I love the metronome, and I would definitely practice it at least to a point where you can play it with the correct rhythm and without slowing down where it's difficult with the metronome, but then put it aside and try to work on the rubato, because you're going to need a lot of push and pull to make this piece sound as beautiful as it can be. If you just play it straight, it's still pretty, but it kind of sounds, like I'm just playing the notes. What you need to do is sing it in your head and sing the melody and see where you would take extra time, which notes you find more interesting, maybe notes that need a bit more emphasis, a little bit more time, and you take the time there. So for example, for me, I end up stretching it here. I've slow it down, I have to, the slowing down, you can't immediately go on tempo again. Here, I gradually fill in the accompaniment, so the tempo of it is not drastically pulled to one side or another. And then here, this actually works to your advantage. Most people have trouble getting here, so even though I would practice to get there on time so that you're comfortable with getting all the way up to the 12th fret, you do have extra time. But because you took all that extra time from here, you have to speed up as you're going down, otherwise you're just going to be slowing down. So here, you always have that stretching and pushing and pulling. Now you have to be careful, like if you take up all this time here, right? You're making one thing easy, your travel to the 12th fret. However, you have to keep in mind, here you have to speed up to make sure that you are still staying within the right timing. So this isn't easy either, so you have to plan it so you don't slow down so much that making up for it makes it impossible. So after this, you can stretch a little bit more, and at the cadence, do a little bit of a ritardando. Now for the B section, the way I hear it is a stronger beginning to it. So even though it is in minor, the way it's written, and I think most publications have a forte there, this big range for the chord with the low E and the G, the spread of the register, it kind of asks for a stronger attack on that chord. And I like rolling it because it also accentuates the fact that it's a pretty wide spread between the registers. And the emphasis is, of course, on the G. With these, personally, I like to treat them more in the background, so even though you can hear them, I don't take too much attention with them, like not louder. One thing that you definitely have to do is when you play these pairs, you have to synchronize them. So very common for learners to have it sound like that. And that's just a matter of the right hand not plucking notes simultaneously and have the synchronization be off. For this section, I like to connect those as a line, so I don't separate, like I don't think up and down with those notes. I just think two voices happening again, this. So it's not one voice jumping from like the chord and then the A to a C and then F to the A. It just seems too much of a change. With this, overlapping these notes, I connect all the melody notes, and even though it's not written that way, I make them longer than they're written, and musically it just sounds more like singing. This ends that line, the chord, and then this is kind of bridging material in another voice that I like to play lighter. So I'm not going to play it that very loud. And I like to make these kind of blend into each other, so it's almost like an extension of the B instead of two Bs in a row. And then you have the pickup. And again with rubato, you climbed up here. You sort of have to speed up a little bit to justify the fact that you're going to take extra time here. And then again, after this extra time, you're gonna speed up down the scale to create the feeling, like the timing to be right. And a bit of a ritardando at the end. If I play everything straight, for example, the B section. Sorry, yeah. have any of that romantic feeling to it. So you really have to learn to stretch a lot, and to really make any note that you find beautiful and interesting, spend a little bit more time on it and make up for it afterwards with the rest of it. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm going to ask for your help. If you watched all the way to the end, then hopefully you'll watch the next one. I'm wondering if we can come up with a nice name for this series that will describe the kind of pieces that I'll be recording. So as I said in the introduction, these will be kind of those rite of passage pieces, but I don't want to call it a rite of passage series. It kind of sounds odd. So I'm looking forward to some creative names, something short but descriptive. I can also leave it unnamed, but it would be nice to have a name for the series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time in the next video.